Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV here at the 5th Cloud Expo. We're in New York City. We have with us Olivier Thierry. We're very pleased. He's come all the way from Zenoss, and he's here at 5th Cloud Expo, which is the place to be, right?
It is. I can't believe it's 5.
It is 5. It'll soon be 7. We do 3 a year now, Olivier.
God, that's amazing. It's been a great show.
You are a historian of technology. You don't know it, but I know it, and now the SYS-CON TV world is going to know it. Let us go up into the cloud, Olivier, that we both spend so much time in, you and I, and let's just map for people. When did all this begin? Where did it come from? Where's it headed? And why? I mean, you can manage that, right?
My goodness. Let's see now. Well, back in the days of OS 3.6, no, we won't go back that far. Internet changed everything. The internet actually brought ubiquity. Ubiquity brought computing costs down. And from there, we went through to virtualization, which is another enabler. And with virtualization and ubiquity and enablement, and I would say also the intersection of the economy. Yep. I think when you put all those adjoining forces, you get this perfect nexus that says, why are we doing it that way? Why can't we do it some other way?
So it really is. It's 5 or 8 or 12 parameters, all converging.
Exactly. It's not one single item that makes it
So perfect storm, although it's an overworked metaphor, it's not that inappropriate this time round.
No, not at all. It's exactly what it is. It's the perfect storm, and that's actually the perfect opportunity storm.
I was going to say perfect storm, but this one is a disruption that seems to be benefiting everyone, which isn't that a little counterintuitive? Shouldn't disruptions sort of cause chaos? But this seems to be causing opportunity.
I would say the cell phone was very disruptive and very big opportunity. I don't think anybody would go back to landlines, I suppose.
I'm still with just the disruption on that one, but that's a personal thing. The cloud, however, and it does seem to be liberating businesses rather more than even technologists. So perhaps we should run with that a little. Why is it transforming businesses? It's not just technology innovation.
It's a huge business opportunity. I mean, when you look at cloud, it's an enabler. You can do things that you couldn't before. And for example, we have a customer here in the city that is a fashion house, high fashion house, and they do 36-hour flash sales of designer clothing.
So spiky.
Very spiky. So they send out a note saying, you know, this designer will be on sale tomorrow night, and they don't know how many people they're going to get. So based on what the demand is, they spool up or spool down. And so their entire business application's in the cloud, and they only spend on what they need.
Right, so it's not that it was impossible before, but it was impossible to fund because you'd need to be dealing with the top spike. You'd have to have the whole of New York blocked out.
You'd over-provision, you'd overspend, and you'd go, my goodness, why are we spending on all that capacity? So this is the perfect way. It's very flexible. And not only that, all of their applications sit in the cloud, all of their monitoring sits in the cloud, and it's a terrific story. They have no infrastructure, have no bodies to worry about, you know, where do I put this server, where do I physically lay that? Absolutely brilliant.
Now, who'd have thought that storage could become such a kind of sexy area of technology? I mean, did you, in all honesty, put your hand on your heart and tell me that you thought this was going to become, you know, the alpha and omega?
I don't know if it's so much sexy as, oh my God, the spindle's on fire. Because what happened right now is as we've virtualized more and more servers and we've used more and more network bandwidth to start moving stuff around, we realize that we're putting enormous loads on storage. In fact, we're spawning servers and at a huge rate. And so all of a sudden, storage isn't so much that it's become sexy as, oh my God, we need more of it.
Okay, in that sense. Well, let me put it another way, that it's come so much center stage. Try that one.
Yes, and of course it makes perfectly logical sense when you look at it from a business point of view. VMware and EMC, you go, oh, I wonder why that's so. Yeah, it has become center stage. It is a very, very important element in this world of not only cloud but virtualization.
And how do we track? I mean, just the growth of unstructured data is rumored to be so almost, I don't know if it is exponential because we have that whole mathematical discussion, but unstructured data is galloping, let's put it that much.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, everybody, if you can, you know, we started to think about unstructured data, not us, but the industry, with blobs. I mean, we had these, 10, 15 years ago. But now, if you look at the amount of stuff that gets shipped around, just the amount of data that we send, photos, pictures, video clips, what we're doing right now is a lot of essentially unstructured data.
Absolutely.
People want to store that, people want to review that, and they also want to make copies of it. So that, yeah, it's an enormous challenge to deal with all of that amount of unstructured data.
And then from a business opportunity sense for Zenoss, how do you then go from the oh boy, I mean, people don't need this forever, to converting it to a business, a working business, a profitable business, an expansionist business? How do you get your chunk of that market?
Well, I think the first thing that most people realize is that you're going to have a foot in both camps, right? So what you try to do with the customers is say, listen, you want to be driving the car with both hands on the steering wheel, not both hands on the rear view mirror. Right? In other words, you're looking forward, you're not looking behind. So that means that you need to be able to see the bridge. You're here and you want to go there. Right? Okay. And there needs to be that compelling picture of cloud-based, virtualized, dynamic data center, and all those benefits. Now let's see how we can do the hybrid approach of managing both, with a foot in this camp and a foot in this new camp, and over time shift that emphasis.
So it's transition management.
It is.
It's being aware that
right.
You can't just jump. You
right.
have to transition.
Right. And each organization transitions in a different way. Some organizations will say, that new app we're going to put in the cloud.
Right.
The other ones we're going to remain right there, and over time we'll move the next new app to the cloud, etc. Some will say part of that, no, we need to do more of the entire infrastructure needs to be cloud-based, and so they move in a hybrid fashion, but in a different way, in a different emphasis.
Now, do you help people come to that understanding, to crystallize what their strategy should be, or is it something one just evangelizes in general and then in for the engagement?
Well, we actually beat them mercilessly with sticks. No, until they see the truth. Yeah, actually, you see, we're all part of the celestial order of the celestial cloud, and so that we all move out into the, we leave these conferences where we all believe in each other, and we go out and we preach.
Yeah. No,
exactly. Yeah.
Now we've got to get to
no, actually, in general, they do understand that that's where they want to go. What they're looking for is the sane reality of, how do I get from where I am today to there? So you're not engaging in the conversation of why do I need to go. You're engaging in how can I get there, and how do you, Zenoss, and when, and at what cost, and what price, and what do I need to change, both organizationally, tooling, etc., to be able to enable that shift.
And have you ever experienced a situation where a company simply, you told me too much about cloud, me more than I could simply cope with, and I just switched away? There isn't an option, really, is there?
No, cloud is coming. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, if you think about the big vendors of cloud, they're going to make computing so cheap that it'll be insane to even think that you would ever want to, ramp up servers or things in your own infrastructure for your basic applications, which you'll be able to get for virtually nothing.
So,
it's coming.
If I get it right, if you were the CIA that didn't take the meeting with a Zenoss, you're the CIA that's going to have to be typing his resume, because your CEO is going to say, they called you and you said what?
Right.
So let's just maybe chat next year?
Yeah, I think it's... in each company has its own maturity curve. Those that are laggards are certainly going to be the ones that are going to be under some pressure, and there'll be lots of questions. In general, the laggards are also very siloed and very entrenched in the decisions that they made 20, 30 years ago.
Right. So they're the worst of both worlds. They are perhaps even under threat.
Yes, in fact, there is a propensity in my mind or a distinct correlation between the entrenchment and their business acumen, their competitiveness, because their competitors are making the move, and when their competitors make that move, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, because it's not a question of IT at that point, it's a question of business agility.
They're sort of sitting in the bleachers. The other guys have got their track shoes on, they're already on the blocks, and they're just not going to catch them up.
We saw this with manufacturing in the car industry. It's exactly the same analogy. And in fact, cloud or virtualization and expansion and contraction of on demand, isn't that kind of like just-in-time manufacturing? Isn't that, so we saw this in the car industry, and if you're not nimble, if you don't adjust, if you don't change the way you build things, the way you deliver, you're not going to be competitive. And cloud is the business enabler, and it changes everything that people know of today.
If that isn't a closing line of an interview, I do not know what is. That sums it all up, as it always does when you speak with Olivier Thierry and when you think about Zenoss. You guys are really smart. Thank you so much for joining us here, Olivier, and thank you for following this out there on the World Wide Web. We'll take this up again in November.
Sure.
At 7th Cloud Expo it'll be by then. I'm telling you, it's wild. Thank you for watching.